Welcome to the repair shop,
Oh, my goodness.
where precious but faded keepsakes
It's proper crushed.
are restored to their former glory.
Zhuzhing. Zhuzhing.
Could I get finished now, please?
Yes.
A dream team of expert craftspeople
I'm absolutely chuffed to bits.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yes, look at that.
using traditional techniques passed down the generations.
Perfecto.
It's almost magic.
Nothing better than a plan that works.
Restore irreplaceable treasures
It's perfect.
and unlock the stories they hold.
Happy teeth.
It feels more magical.
I just want to hug everybody.
Morning.
Swear I've got the heavy end.
You reckon?
David Burville is one of just a handful of British mechanical organ experts, and his next assignment hits some very special notes.
You are never going to guess who this belongs to.
Go on.
Simon Armitage, the current Poet Laureate.
Oh, wow.
I know. Just think the history. Other amazing poets, Tennyson, Wordsworth, and now Simon. And he's coming here.
Quite an honour, isn't it?
Amazing. I know. I can't wait to meet him.
Yeah.
Simon, hi.
Hi there.
Welcome to the barn. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. I
Good.
recognise this.
Yeah, I'd hope so. This must be your harmonium.
Well, it was in the church in Marsden where I was born and grew up in West Yorkshire. And when my mum told me that the church were getting rid of it, I couldn't really bear to think of it just sort of being lost. So I said it could come and live at our house. And that's where it's been for about 10 years now.
Do you have memories of it ever working in the church?
I was in the church choir, so I've sung to the sounds of this harmonium, and my dad was in the church choir, and his dad was in the church choir as well.
In the same church?
Yeah, in the same church.
3 generations of your family have all sung in front of this
That's
organ.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've all harmonised with it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your father's name?
Yeah, my dad was called Peter, and he was a very big character, larger-than-life character. He used to write shows and pantomimes that they put on in the village, so he gave me a kind of permission, really, to be a creative, artistic person, though it's come out in a different way. You know, with him it was performance, it was song, it was acting. With me, it's poetry.
Did he encourage that with you, though?
Yeah, he did. He was incredibly proud of everything that, you know, I've achieved as a writer. I think my proudest moment was when I rang him up to tell him that I was going to be the next Poet Laureate. I was in America at the time, and so we were having this very crackly transatlantic conversation, and I could hear him crying on the other end of the phone.
He's proud of his son.
Yeah, and my dad died in February 2021. So I think at that point I got even more concerned to try and do something with this, you know, as something that connected me to him.
Yeah.
You're almost the one link that this harmonium's got to the next generation. If it wasn't for yourself, nobody would know the family significance of it, would they?
Well, I've got a poem called Harmonium about this very harmonium.
Oh, wow.
Would you mind? Can we hear it?
I'd love to read it. It requires these.
Absolutely.
The Farron chaplet was gathering dust in the shadowy porch of Marsden Church and was due to be bundled off to the tip, or was mine for a song if I wanted it. Sunlight through stained glass, which on bright days might beatify saints or raise the dead, had aged the harmonium's softwood case and yellowed the fingernails of its keys, and one of its notes had lost its tongue, and holes were worn in both the treadles where the organist's feet in grey woolen socks and leather-soled shoes had pedalled and pedalled, but its hummed harmonics still struck a chord. It had stood facing the choristers' stalls, where father, then son, had opened their throats, and gilded finches, like high notes, had streamed out. Through his own blue cloud of tobacco smog, with smoker's fingers and dottled thumbs, he comes to help me cart it away. We lay it flat, then carry it out on its back, and him, being him, he has to say that the next box I'll shoulder through this nave will bear the load of his own dead weight.
Is that your father you were talking about there?
Yeah, it was my dad, and he had a sort of quite dark sense of humour.
What are you hoping David's able to do to the harmonium? What's the dream?
I work with a band called LYR, and I write for them, and we perform together. And one of the noises that is very big in the band is a keyboard. The dream is that all the notes will play, so it's not just an ornament, but it's functional as well. I think there's one of the notes that's down here somewhere. It's completely mute. Oh.
Oh, it's trying, the poor thing.
Sounds a bit poorly.
Pretty sure it's not supposed to sound like that, yeah.
So, good luck.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a lovely looking little thing, you know. And when you think, probably this got more use than the big church organ.
Yeah, I think objects somehow retain echoes of things that have happened, and it's interesting to think that there's a bit of my dad's voice has, you know, harmonised with that harmonium and is still in there at some level.
Yeah.
Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for sharing this amazing history with us.
Well, I can't wait to get it singing again.
OK, great. Thanks very much.
So much. Goodbye.
You, take care.
Thanks.
All the best. What a nice guy.
You going to get it working again, though?
I hope so.
OK.
Got to get it singing, haven't we?
Yeah, you better get it to your bench. Come on, then.
Definitely.
God, it's heavy.
Oh, it is.
Dear me.
It was really lovely to hear Simon reading the poem about the harmonium, and it really gave a picture of those years of history that this had seen. But it's very, very tired. Wow. Well, there's quite a lot of dust inside that, and I hope a very dead spider. That's the problem with this kind of instrument. You don't tend to need a lot of maintenance, so nobody gets inside them. I think it says here that it was serviced in 1902. I've just got to get the sides off, and then I can actually get into the mechanism, get the reeds out and the keys, get those nice and clean, and then get to the bellows and get its lungs working again. And then we'll see generally what condition it's in. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad.
The next hopeful visitor, Valerie Hesselgrove from Pontefract, is here to test the craftsmanship of fellow Yorkshireman and cobbler, Dean Westmoreland.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm very good. What have you brought in for us today?
I brought you a pair of children's leather clogs that belong to my sister, Iris.
Whoa, those are small, aren't they? Wow.
My mum had 4 girls in 6 years, and Iris was the second daughter. And she was born in 1946, but she was 6 weeks at least premature. And the midwife that delivered her didn't think that she'd survive. But she did survive, and they fed her with a little dropper. And they reared her, but she had a lot of problems. She had problems with her health, she had problems with her mobility, and the shoes were to help her get a balance. But she hated them, because as we all know, differences in children create divisions. So one day Iris threw that one onto the fire. And then when my mum realised and got them off and she couldn't wear them, Iris would be quite pleased.
How old was she when she did that?
She probably about 4 or 5.
Wow. Well, Mum's back
A brave
to turn.
thing to do as well.
That is a very brave thing to do.
So my mum then put them on the mantelpiece, and there they were for 40 years. And as she got sort of 10 and 11, she did start to catch up, like
Good.
premature babies do,
Yeah.
at some point. And then as she got into her teens, she always wanted to be a nurse. She initially applied at 3 local hospitals and they all turned her down, but she didn't give in. She went further afield and got in at Bradford, and then realised her dream. Qualified as a midwife, and then went out onto the community in Bradford, where she stayed until she retired in 1977. So for me, she was a wonderful role model. She was just so determined and so stoic. Sadly, Iris passed away in September last year.
And why have you kept these then? What?
Oh, they're part of my family history, aren't they? After my mum died, Iris kept them.
Yeah.
You know, they obviously, even though she hated wearing them.
Wow.
What is it you wanted me to do with them?
Just a bit of tender loving care. They deserve it, don't they?
Of course I do, yeah.
They do.
It's just the last thing that I could do for Iris, and my mum as well.
It's lovely.
Well, thank you for bringing these in. You take care now.
OK, then.
All right.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. I don't know how you're going to do those.
Neither do I, mate. Yet.
OK, that's good. Well, you're in the right hands. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Right.
So it's quite the challenge that Val has given me here with Iris's clogs. All the leather has gone really, really hard. It's like a resin or a plastic almost. The biggest part of the damage really is the upper leather and the hull there. The fire has also damaged the bottom of the clogs. It's burnt the rubber seg that would have protected the wood. That's all gone. I would like to make a new piece of rubber for here to match this. The issue with so much wood has been burnt away that it's very difficult. I think I need to try and build this wooden base up to a point where they both sit equally. Before I tackle any of that, I'd like to try and get some moisture back into these uppers, a bit of flexibility, a bit of life. So I'm going to try a cleaner on it, and fingers crossed it goes OK. I'm going to do the good one first, see how that goes. Almost instantly, I'm feeling some flexibility there, which kind of makes me relax a little bit.
Also enjoying a satisfying cleaning job, David is ready to revive the symphonic song of the Poet Laureate's harmonium.
Well, now I've managed to get all the dust off the outside of the machine, it's going to be interesting to see what state the reeds are in. There's approximately 120 reeds in this, in 2 sets. Yeah, they're actually pretty caked. The reeds are the most important part of the harmonium. These are really the individual little voice boxes that create the sound and the singing. Unfortunately, with the amount of dirt that's caked onto the actual reeds, that's really weighing them down. So that's causing them to not beat as fast as they should be. And so I need to get these into my ultrasonic bath, and then that will remove all of that and get them back to their original sound. Whilst the reeds are cooking nicely in the ultrasonic tank, I'm just turning my attention to the bellows. The bellows really are the lungs of the instrument. They provide the suction which actually operates the reeds, there's quite a lot of little holes, and they all add up to a large amount of air being lost. I've actually made some little leather patches, so that sticks really quite quickly, and you can see that that's actually folding nicely. Once I've got the rest of these patches on, then I'm going to give the whole thing a coat of rubberised paint, and that's going to seal it up really nicely, and then hopefully they go on for many, many years. Back in my days of church organ building, one of my least favourite jobs was keyboards. You're doing so many of the same thing over and over and over again, but without the monotony, you don't get the music, and it is the music that keeps me going, wanting to hear that first sound out of the instrument. So these keys are made of wood, but they're covered in a celluloid material, which is actually a very early form of plastic. Unfortunately, it does have a slightly porous surface. By using this mildly abrasive powder, it actually cleans the surface layer. So you can see there already that that's made quite a difference. That's much, much cleaner. So I've just got 60 more to go.
From sacred song to fine art. Martin Yorkshireman is hoping the sculptural skills of Kirsten Ramsay can rebuild a precious memento that chronicles an extraordinary life.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Lovely to meet you.
And you too.
What have you brought in?
Well, I've got a sculpture of my mother, Vera, when she was 27 years old.
Goodness. Wow. What an amazing thing.
Unfortunately, it's in a rather bad state. It fell off a wardrobe when it was stored for quite a long time.
A sculpture of your mother, that's quite a rare thing to have.
Well, my mother was at an art college in a place called Zlin in Czechoslovakia, and she befriended a young student sculptor, Miloš Axman, who eventually became quite famous. He gave it to her as a sort of memory of himself.
Can you tell us about your mother?
Yes, she had a very, very colourful and interesting life, but also quite tragic. At the beginning of the Second World War, when the Germans took over Czechoslovakia, young people were sent to work in ammunition factories, and she was sent to work in Berlin. And she planned with two male friends to actually escape to Switzerland, but they were caught crossing the border. Her two friends were shot dead, and she was sentenced to life in prison, and then they were freed from the prison in 1945, and she walked all the way from Waldheim to Prague. They walked...
That must have been a terrifying time for her.
It was, and I'm sure it affected her quite a lot, but she was very brave and very gifted as well. She worked in arts all her life. As a child, we never had anything. We didn't have a TV, we didn't have a fridge, didn't have a washing machine, but we had a full apartment of paintings and books, and that was more important to my parents.
So when did you arrive in the UK?
In 1968, I went to do a big trip around Europe, starting with London. But whilst I was in London, the Russians invaded Czechoslovakia. I wasn't able to go back for 22 years.
Goodness.
In 1990, the Iron Curtain came down.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I actually revisited Prague after all that time. My mother was able to come out of Czechoslovakia and to see me in London because she was not of any interest to the communist authorities then. When I last saw her, she was saying, you must take all these precious possessions back to Bristol. Right. And I think she was hoping I would be able to one day get it back to the original state.
Mm-hmm. How was this originally displayed?
Before it was broken, it was sitting on a wooden pedestal.
Oh, it would stand up like that?
Like that.
That's beautiful.
Isn't it lovely? Do you have any photographs of it complete?
Yes, yes, and also one of the back of it, which shows exactly how the hair and how the pedestal worked.
That would be...
It's going to be helpful.
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
The fascinating thing is that it looks just like my daughter looked at the age of about 18, 20, which is very special for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be an absolute pleasure to try and get this back for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So welcome.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I think this is a really beautiful piece of sculpture. You can really see the way it's been made. You can see the texture, the tooling, the hands that have actually created this. Now, it's going to be quite tricky to make up this really quite large missing section. It's really helpful that Martin had some images of how this piece would have looked. And I think one of the first jobs that I've got to do is to try and work out the shape of this missing section. I can see by looking at the interior that this plaster is really quite thin. It's almost like a shell on an Easter egg. I'm going to have to try and support it in some way so that I've got a stable surface to fill onto. I've had a chat with Will and he's kindly offered to make the base. I'm going to finish off surface cleaning and that gives me an opportunity to think what I'm going to do next.
While Kirsten gets her head on the head, Dean's tackling toes, beginning the difficult task of building back up the burned-away sole of the little clog.
I need roughly the same thickness on the sole here as I have on this undamaged one. If I can build up this thickness, let that set, it's nice and hard, and it will take some new pins around the front and the new rubber seg. So at this point I'm just creating a two-part epoxy putty. This is the best way that I think I can build up the thickness of the sole. As I've never used this before, I'm intrigued to find out if that's the case. I like learning new things, keeps things fresh, but there's always that slight worry of, is it going to look good enough? Is it going to be refined enough? And I think like any craftsperson, that's always at the forefront of your mind to do the best job possible. So just a little bit more tinkering here, and then I'm going to let it set, and it will be ready to sand down in profile. So now this putty is actually dried really hard, and I think the most surprising thing to me is that it's bonded so well to this wood. So now I'm going to put it on the sander and just try and match the original profile of the shoe steadily. I did feel when I was going round a bit of movement, and I can actually see if I pull that front, it's really not bonded to the front, which is really frustrating. So unfortunately, I have to kind of admit defeat, really. I just felt that with the complex profile and the fact I didn't want to be shaving too much wood away, I wanted to keep as much of the original wood as possible. And on discovering this putty, it was quite exciting to use a new material. Unfortunately, it's not really sufficient for this job. But you live and learn. There is no finesse in this. I'm just going to pull that off and clean up the wood. And that's such a shame. It really is. There is always a plan B, though. And my plan B is to use leather. And once I build this up in leather, I'll be able to wet it and hand carve it to pretty much any shape I want. So I'm just going to trim the excess leather now to a rough shape. So that's the first layer on, and it's bonded really, really nicely. To bring it level, I'm going to have to do perhaps 5 layers in total, and it will give a good solid base to put the pins in and to attach the rubber seg. So I'm just creating a template here for a new rubber seg. Luckily, I have this right shoe with an intact rubber seg that I can copy the template. So that's all pressed on now. And now it's a case of cutting it out.
Working on organs and harmonium since his teens, David's travelled the world with his craft. But every newly restored instrument still thrills.
That's the harmonium assembled, and I've replaced the carpet on the pedals. I've managed to match the type of carpet as near as possible. But I've got to now connect the pedals to the bellows. So that's the pedals connected. So, moment of truth. Well, it actually makes noises. That's lovely. I have to admit, it's been a real honour to do this harmonium for Simon. Really, really looking forward to getting it back to him.
As Poet Laureate, Simon is tasked with writing verses to mark the nation's events. This harmonium inspired its own ballad, marking its significance in the life of Simon and the father who sparked his life of creativity.
Hello.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
So how you feeling?
I'm really looking forward to being reacquainted with it. I don't have a memory, obviously, of my dad as a choir boy or my granddad, but what I do know is that their voices sang in harmony with this thing in the same way that I did in the same place in that church. So there's a kind of lineage connected with this, and that's why it's special for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Ready to see it?
I'm ready, yeah.
Come on now.
It's beautiful. I'm looking straight away at the pedals because it had been played so much. There were big holes in the fabric there. It's really beautiful. Oh yeah, it looks like it's been to the dentist.
Yes. Yes.
It's definitely got his voice back. I think it was this one here that was a bit croaky.
Yes. So what do you think your dad would make of it now?
I think he'd be really chuffed that it was up and running again. No, he would have loved it.
So what's the future hold for it?
Well, I definitely want it to be played. I work with a band, so I'm hoping that this is going to be involved in some of the records that we make and maybe accompany us on stage as well. And Pat and Richard are here.
Oh, there you are. How we doing?
Hey, guys.
Good to see if you've done a proper job on this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm nervous now.
He's a professional. Watch out.
That's the thing about desire. It won't always be on your side.
It's cold in the small hours, bolting the door against dark nights, scanning for miracles, panning for glimmers and signs, knowing at best I'm the 10th or 11th in line. I know I'm not really your favourite person, but you're mine. Desire is a self-figured creature who changes her mind.
That's the thing about
I know I'm not really your favourite person, but you're mine.
all the time.
Amazing.
How does it feel?
It felt really moving.
Yeah?
Yeah, and very satisfying to hear sweet noise coming out of that again, and to hear it playing contemporary music, but still with that sort of spiritual heart. It was a very pleasurable moment.
As the harmonium makes its way home, Kirsten is working on her own opus, recreating the missing piece of the sculpture.
I'm going to build up a support to build the plaster onto. I'm putting the sand into the head here, and this is so that I can create the right shape to build my support onto. And once my support has set hard, I can then just tip the sand out. Now I've got this Hessian, and this is called scrim, and I'm going to dip it into plaster so I can work it into the missing areas of the head. I'm not really expecting this to have any dramatic effect on the appearance of the piece. This is all about structure. Then once it's set hard, I can then start to recreate this beautiful textured surface. This is really fun. It feels a little bit more like playing than working.
Kirsten has asked me if I'd be able to make a new base for Vera's sculpture. I've got a lovely block of oak here. I've got some great photos here for reference. Where the head sits onto the wooden base, there's almost like a scooped piece of wood that's been removed. I'm going to start off by carving that out.
Over on Kirsten's bench, the sculpture is almost finished. It just needs her colour-matching expertise to get it picture perfect.
This is where hopefully all the sand comes out, like so. I'm now left with a shelf. It's hard and it feels really well secured, so I'm now ready to move on to filling in some of these areas.
Judging on the shape of the scoops, I need to look for a carving gouge with a bit of a curve to it. And also, this being oak, it has a tendency to splinter. So one wrong tap and it could be chaos. Right, there's no going back now. This is the first strike.
I'm now ready to apply the final coat. You've got these lovely marks all over the surface and it gives it a real dynamic quality and it just gives the whole piece life. So I need to try and recreate that. Right, need my glasses.
Hello.
Wow, gosh,
All done.
that's looking amazing.
Thank you very much. I think we might need another pair of eyes. Jay?
Yeah.
This is a big moment.
I was trying to put the head on, yeah?
Yes, finally. I've added this sort of wooden pole here, so it should sit just right.
We're going to put some adhesive in there
Yeah.
and we've got one go at this, really.
Oh, whoa. OK. Well, the suspense is killing me. Let's give it a go. Come on, let's give it a go.
Looks like lemon curd.
It does.
Yeah. Feeling kind of peckish.
Nice one.
OK.
You think that's enough?
Yeah, should we go for it?
Yeah?
Yeah.
OK.
Let's get it in.
Right. Good.
Oh.
Feels a lot less scary having you guys here. OK? Do you reckon?
Absolutely perfect. From this angle,
Yeah,
she
yeah.
looks exactly how she's looking there.
Lovely.
Probably just slightly, I mean, really slightly to this side. A real minuscule amount. There.
Do you reckon?
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Good.
Nice one.
Right.
Right, there's a lot still to be done before Martin gets this back.
Right,
Thank
give it
you,
a go.
thanks.
It's been a rocky road to repair, but Dean's now got a firm footing with the tiny clogs.
Iris's clogs are looking surprisingly well now. I know it meant a great deal to Valerie to get these repaired, and I just hope I've done her proud, and even more so I hope I've done Iris's memory proud.
Hi.
Hiya.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you doing? I'm Dom.
Pleased to meet you, Dan. I'm
Nice.
Val.
Hello,
and
Val.
I know
I'm
you,
Dean.
Dean, don't
Dean.
I? And I am so excited. I'm bubbling.
You're looking forward to seeing them.
I am.
Go on, Dean.
Do the honours.
Oh, Dean, how on earth have you done that? Look at this. Oh, Dean, they're amazing. Oh. Oh, my goodness, you've put the little segs back on. Oh. Oh, I wish my mum and my sister could have seen these. My mum would have probably put them in the china cabinet where the good stuff goes. Oh, they're just amazing. I can't thank you enough. They're brilliant.
I'm glad you're happy.
We didn't have much, we were dirt poor. Even had they not been damaged, I don't think my mother would have ever let them go. She would have treasured them. And she'd be pleased with me that, you know, I've done this. They've been in that sorry state for over 70 years and you come along and make them fabulous. Can't thank you enough.
Happy, yeah?
Oh, very, very happy, yeah. More than I ever thought I would be, yeah.
Good.
Well, Val, they're yours to take home and enjoy.
Thank you very much. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Val.
See you
Bye-bye.
later.
More maternal memories have been restored over on Kirsten's bench. The sculpture is now structurally sound, just leaving her colour-matching expertise to get it picture perfect.
For me, this is the exciting point that I start to put the colour on, and it's really satisfying just seeing that white disappearing, and you can really start to see the sculpture coming back to life. You can really feel the soul in this. You feel quite connected to the maker when you work this closely on something that's been created. It's come together really nicely, and a little bit of shaping, a little bit of retouching, and then it's ready to go back to Martin.
Caught up in the chaos and tragedy of Europe during the Second World War, this sculpture captures Martin's late mother, Vera, just as she was finding her feet in a life devoted to the arts.
Hi, Martin.
Oh, hello. Hi. How are you?
Yeah, good. Great to see you.
So excited.
Oh.
Honestly, to have it back in one piece, it'll be really, really great.
Fantastic. Would you like to see it?
I'd love to see it, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh my, it's fantastic. Oh. I mean, I last saw my mother in 1999, just before she died, and this is such a wonderful memory. It's my mother when she was 27 years old.
What an amazing thing to have.
She was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It really brings back memories. It really does. I feel taken back to my childhood.
You.
Oh, and oh, amazing. This is exactly how I remember it. Including the pedestal, which was exactly like that. And the way you've actually made up the part which was missing, the colour and the way it's matched up, the result is you know, exactly how it should be.
That's lovely to hear. Yeah.
I thank you so much for all this effort. It's wonderful.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I will treasure it forever.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.